Welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel, part two of discussion with Jamie. In part one, we hashed out whether or not Turki Al Sheikh was right in saying that he doesn't want any Tom and Jerry dancing type shows. So I recommend you go and look at that one. Jamie, before we move on to other subjects, I'll leave you with this final thought that you can ponder, and maybe we can rope in the other guys on our group here.
Yeah.
And I'll pose it as a question. Does Turki Al Sheikh have a responsibility to provide a platform for non-fan friendly fighters to showcase their undoubted talents?
Right. I'm not going to answer that question.
I know it was something to chew over with the guys, right?
Yeah, definitely. In the next 5-star or 4-star.
And for people who are watching, I'll make a point of letting people know what the hive mind thinks of this, or maybe we'll chew it over when we next have our 4 or 5 way.
Yeah.
Jamie, we were talking about non-fan friendly, boring fighters. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about somebody who I don't think anybody is going to complain about. Certainly one of my favorite fighters, and I think one of your favorite fighters, Jai Opetaia.
Yeah, definitely.
What did you think? Tell everybody what you thought of his last performance and where you think he's going to go, and what would you like to see him do?
I think his last performance, he did what he always does, and I'm going to be, even though he's one of my favourite fighters, I've got a bit of a complaint about him, to be honest with you. But we didn't cover it last week, did we? We forgot and then thought, oh, sugar. You know what I mean? We need to look at that. I think he's one of those fighters who, at a certain level, and this is all you can ask of a world champion, when you get a certain level of fighter like he's mandatory, who might not even be up there. What was his opponent called? Squayo, was it?
Sequeo, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Well, against that certain level of fighter, he'll just absolutely run through him. And against Bradis, he won convincingly, I thought, but he got his jaw broken in the process, and so he can grind it out, and he can look terrifying when he needs to. I think my only argument now, and my only criticism of him, because he looked good, let's face it, he really, and we always say it's one of those boxing sort of centric sayings, isn't it? A fighter that can go through the gears, he really does.
Yeah.
The first couple of rounds, he'll really have a look at what the opponent's presenting, and I think Squayo he looked a couple of weight classes too small, didn't he? He looked a couple of weight classes smaller than Opetaia for a start. He looked a lot smaller, and he was giving it a go. Stuff was hitting the gloves. There wasn't really any sort of major jeopardy, but he was giving it a go. And then you just see a switch, and the uppercuts come flying in, and the hooks, and I don't know. He just then starts. Yeah, he's got that sort of shark mentality. You see it in his eyes in interviews as well. And I think there's fighters like Terence Crawford. I think Terence Crawford's another one. Marvin Hagler from yesteryear. You know what I mean? They look like you could sit down and have a beer with them, but if you annoy them, the switch will go like that. You can see it in their eyes. I think Opetaia is one of those fighters, and I think when he gets in the ring and going through the gears and all that, like he'll look at it for a couple of rounds, and then he's like, "I'm bored of this now. I'll dispatch you." And that's what he did to Squire. He was very, very clinical. But I'd like to see him now. He needs to fight one of the champions. Badu Jack would be less resistance to him. But I think fighting Badu Jack next would be the answer, because we need to clear up that division.
I think those are really good points. There's a couple of things that again, touching on episode 1, Sequeo went into this fight with a 0. He was an unbeaten fighter, right?
Yeah.
And if you go through his resume, you could have made a case that he had every right to be in the ring with Jai Opetaia based on record. But of course, no disrespect to Sequeo, I mean, but his record was, in my view, it was a padded record, right?
Yeah,
And Jai Opetaia, like you say, he made short work of him. Was it a fifth round finish, right?
yeah.
Um,
He broke his jaw as well, Bob.
yeah, he broke his jaw, very like a real break, no doubt about it,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Um, I'd like to see Opetaia, like you. I'd like to see Opetaia unify or become undisputed. But but as a fan of Opetaia, I do not want to see Opetaia waste more time than is absolutely necessary now.
No.
I kind of worry that Opetaia could end up being 32, 33, still in the cruiserweight, maybe had a few wars. And,
Yeah.
he's 29 now. If he was to make a move to heavyweight now, um, go for those bigger paychecks, get his name out there. If he hangs around in cruiserweight for another couple of years, and he's got some damage on him as well. Those
Of
fights with
course he has.
Bradis really took it out of
Well,
him, I think.
had it been for had it not been for having skin on his face and a couple of muscles, I think his jaw would have fallen off, wouldn't it? It was that badly broken.
Yeah,
I think the detriment to Jai Opetaia is that he's IBF champion. If he was WBC champion, you know, well, no, I don't actually think it's a detriment. No, it's not a detriment to him. It's beneficial to him because obviously he gets to fight these no marks because IBF enforce their mandatories that, might not be the most sort of the toughest opposition. Do you know what
yeah.
I mean? So he can just sort of motor along. I don't know whether he's happy with it. He seems to be the kind of fighter that wants to unify. But like you said there, I think he just needs to get a move on now. I'd like to see him. I don't want to see him up at heavyweight until he dispatches everybody else. I think the Benavides, not Benavides, I always say, who's the other cruiserweight champion? Zurdo
Gerdo
Ramirez.
Ramirez?
I always get him confused with David Benavides.
Yeah.
I think Zurdo would be more competition for Jai than Badu Jack, purely because Badu Jack, he's not got age on his side and he's a bit of an old warhorse, but still, let's get it going, Jai. Come on,
I think, but
let's get it together.
I think Badu Jack is. I would put Jai as a strong favorite over Badu Jack.
Yeah,
Um, the issue with Ramirez is I could see Ramirez ending up being a 2-fight, possibly even a 3-fight kind of scenario, and the time just ticks away that Opetaia could almost waste his very, very best skills in cruiserweight.
yeah.
How about this for an idea? It just popped into my head. You think Opetaia could move up to bridgerweight, get the bridgerweight title, and then move into heavyweight as kind of like a stepping stone?
We could do, but I'd rather not. There's no competition there at all, is there?
It's
And
not really
people might
not
no, it's
recognized,
not
really, is it?
by the WBC and WBA like it is, but and people might turn around and go, well, the cruiserweight division, people are in favour of bridgerweight. People might go, well, the cruiserweight division was unfavoured. Yeah, but at least there were names there. I can't tell you a single person at bridgerweight, other than Lawrence Okolie, who was like the octopus.
And
Um,
Kevin Lorena?
oh, was he a bridgerweight as
Yeah, I
well?
think he
Right.
was. Who knows what he is now? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
um,
So
yeah.
I don't really see. I can see Jai Opetaia beating Lorena as well, to be honest. So yeah,
The
it's not a division I even really acknowledge, but that's just me.
thing is with Jai, he's 6'2", right?
Hmm.
He's. I mean, he's not a small man, but
No,
the question is, how would he be at say 225? You know, 6'2",
um,
225.
how's Usyk How's
Six.
Usyk at 225 or 230? He's only 6'3".
Yeah, Usyk is well, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
And I love a good southpaw. You're not gonna get much impartiality with me really when it comes to a really good southpaw. And
oh no,
Jai is one of those. You know what I
yeah,
mean? He's good on his feet. He can do it inside. He can do it outside. He can certainly fight. You know, his jaw was hanging off his face and he come through. He's got everything. So I don't think moving up to heavyweight would really be a problem. Again, Usyk's absolutely phenomenal. I think he beat everyone apart from Usyk.
yeah. Well,
But
I don't think that on my bingo card, I don't see Jai and Usyk ever fighting. I think that those are ships that might pass in the night. Usyk is
oh, and
30.
Moses, Bob.
Huh?
Moses, sorry to jump in. I don't see him beating Moses either, but you know I love Moses.
Um, that's
You've
a
went
really
quiet then.
that's a really interesting fight.
It is.
Opetaia 28-0 against Moses, who's the bigger man, the potentially faster man. I don't know. That's a hell of a good fight, though.
It is, but I realised when I said it, I've just become the ultimate fanboy.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Yeah,
on the train. I'm on the train,
yeah. You're on the
and
Moses train. Yeah, I know.
yeah,
I
I'm
know.
on the
I
train.
know.
I'm taking advantage of complimentary beer, and I've had about 5 cakes on that train. I'm not coming off. So it's
um, but isn't Moses up for a real war when he fights the body snatcher Dillian White?
well, don't laugh and say that, Bob. No, he's not. He's not up for a war. No, maybe a few fights ago, but no,
No.
certainly not.
Yeah,
No,
I can't remember if we talked about Dillian and Moses last time. We might have.
we did.
I'm not seeing that Dillian has got much of a chance, really. If we want to talk about body snatchers, uh, Ajit Kabayel and Moses Atoma. Now that's a fight, and that's a fight that
Yep.
I would not predict Moses to win at the
You
moment.
know, be bloody interesting though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 'cause I really like Kabayel. I mean, Kabayel
Same.
actually is somebody I wouldn't bet against Kabayel against anybody. I mean, even Usyk. I'm not sure if
No,
Usyk would beat Kabayel.
and that's the thing. He's got a very sort of like he's not got a particularly exciting style, has he? He's quite. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing that's like, oh my god, he's Mr. Must See TV. But there's just something about him. Like you say there, you can't really bet against him because he does everything really well. He doesn't do anything elite. Maybe the body punching, but
Yeah,
and I think that's what makes him exciting as well. How often do we see heavyweight body punchers?
he's the best practitioner of it at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
I love a body puncher.
I really like Kabayel. I really hope that there's a big fight involving him fairly soon. Um, I see that. Oh, what was I gonna? I've lost my train of thought. Um, oh yeah, I see that Okolie. You mentioned Hergovic a few moments ago. Uh, I see that Okolie is having an outing again here in the not too distant future.
Don't do a Russell on me and start like bestowing his virtues, mate, because I have no interest in Okolie. Like,
Lawrence Okolie is has been one of those fighters that for me, I would almost rather not watch the fight than watch him fight. Like you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You
yeah,
know,
no,
he's I.
he's
I know everyone's excited about him at heavyweight. You know that he was too lean at cruiserweight. So what are you saying? You're saying that he was too tired? That
who's excited about him? Who's excited about him? I've never seen anybody excited. To me, he's a modern day Henry Akinwande, and anybody who doesn't know who Henry Akinwande is, watch his fight against Lennox Lewis because he's
yeah, yeah.
absolutely horrendous. Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that when Okolie fights, and he's on the Usyk Dubois undercard, of course. I'm hoping that
Yeah.
Kevin Lorena gives him a good fight.
Yeah.
I would expect Okolie to beat Lorena, but I'm
Hmm.
hopeful that Lorena gives him a good fight.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice. It would be nice, wouldn't it? Like, but giving him a good fight, does that mean a good spectacle, or does it mean that he pushes him? Because Cody isn't known to give good spectacles.
No,
Could just be
Okolie.
one of those, couldn't it? Like, we're just going to hit him and tie him up.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's yeah, interesting, but I'm not. I can't get excited about it. You know, but I would like to see Lorena do a good job on him. I'd like to see Lorena win, actually.
Yeah, same here, same here. Because he's not my cup of tea. And you've seen me on Porky's Corner where Russ has sat there and tried to talk to me about Lawrence Okolie. I've no real time for him. I don't know why the man gets so much coverage on. And it's not a criticism of Russ. He likes him, but I think he's pony personally.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
I don't see personally what there is to like so much about him.
no.
But I'm prepared
I
to give
think
him
it's
a.
because he met him. I think it's because he met him, and maybe that bleeds into it a little bit. He met him, and he thinks he's a nice guy now, so he sort of cheers for him a bit. But no, not for me.
Yeah, fair play, fair play. And I also
Mm.
see, of course, that Philip Hergovic is having another outing against David Adelaide coming up.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? I feel sorry for Jamie Shakiva. Um, by the way, I'm going to call him Jamie Shakiva because I can't stand that Jamie TKV. It takes less time to just say his name. Like, is he trying to sound cool? He's Jamie Shakiva. There you go, easy, right? I feel sorry for Jamie Shakiva because obviously he's going to want that rematch, and yeah, we just bypassed him. It's a bit of an unusual one because I don't particularly think David Adelaide's that good. So I'm wondering what Frank Cattell might see in him that maybe I don't, and they're pushing him towards like this, you know, top level European sort of gatekeeper. So we'll see. Hergovic can give him a good run for his money, can't he? I think.
Um, I would have Hergovic as a strong favourite, to be honest with you. David Adelaide did not overly impress me against Fabio Wardley, and he did not impress me at all against TKB because I can't pronounce his last name, and I'll just make a fool of myself.
Shakiva, Bob.
Shaki-
Shakiva.
Shakiva. Okay,
There you go.
but to keep you happy, Jamie Shakiba.
There you go.
Yeah, I wondered did he get some sort of financial compensation because I thought that this was a done deal that there was going to be a rematch due to the controversial way in which Adelaide stopped him last time out.
Yeah, yeah. There's probably a step aside, isn't there? But I mean, it's just quite unusual because I can't. Where does he go? Like, are they looking for maybe a Fabio Wardley rematch? Maybe that's the route they're going to take if he comes through. Um, if he comes through him, which isn't a foregone conclusion because Hergovic is decent. Well, there you go. I think I've cracked it personally. Yeah, I think that'll be Fabio Wardley's next fight.
So, but wouldn't that be a backward step for Fabio though? Because Adelaide is British champion. Let's assume he just relinquishes his British title. And in him and Fabio fight, like what? How does that bring Fabio any closer to a belt?
All right.
And
If
and what does Adelaide bring to the table
would you think that? Would you think Hergovic is a backward step right now?
for Wardley?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Um,
So if Adelaide can beat the guy that you consider who's not a backward step
right.
right now,
Yeah.
surely they'll be on the level.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair point. Fair point.
Yeah, I can see that happening, Bob.
Yeah, fair point. Except the one thing that I don't see happening there is I don't see Adelaide getting through Hergovic.
Neither do I, but it's just
Yeah,
quite intriguing. It's quite
yeah.
intriguing, to be honest.
And if Wardley wants a belt, he's WBA. No, his next fight has got to be Michael Hunter or Pulev, right? Because Hunter
Yeah,
and Pulev are fighting, so he fights the winner of those two,
yeah. It could
and then
beat Pulev.
he becomes the next level up of belt.
Yeah, it becomes mandatory challenger
That's
then,
right. He's
doesn't he?
mandatory for Usyk, right?
Yeah, which just keep him away for God's sake.
Well, that's
Usyk
never
needs to
gonna.
retire. If he beats Dubois, I want to see Usyk retire.
Oh, me too. I mean,
Yeah,
if he beats Usyk, the greedy, the fan in me, the greedy part of me, the very selfish part of me, wants to see him fight Parker and then Caballel and then retire unbeaten. But I don't think that's
yeah,
feasible. I don't think it's feasible. I don't think it could happen. I want to see him beat Dubois and then, like you say, just say, adios, amigos. I'm out of here.
yeah. Knock him out as well.
Yeah, flat out. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my
and then
preference.
lay out George Fox, take him outside and give him a slap. That's
I'm
what we
pleased.
want.
And while he's at it, knock out Conor Ben as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that fight's coming up soon. I'm gonna do a couple of videos about ways in which I think that Dubois will win, and ways in which I think that Usyk will win. I'm getting nervous, to be honest with you. As you know, I
Mm,
I'm Team Usyk all the way, right?
yep, same.
And I am getting nervous. I think that this is going to be a much harder time out with Dubois than it was the last time. And I'm worried about Dubois low blows, headbutts, elbows, God knows what. Um,
You don't have to worry. Like you don't have to worry. Usyk's elite.
yeah,
Like no
it's,
one really worried about Roy Jones, did they, when he went in the ring?
no, but Usyk is 38. He's 39 in January, right?
That's a point. Yeah,
you know, nobody wants to see their favorite fighters sort of half out through the
deteriorate.
ropes, right? Nobody wants
Yeah,
to
I know
see
what you mean.
Joe Louis and Rocky Marciano, right?
No,
And I'm not saying that Dubois is Rocky, but older fighters do get caught sometimes.
they can, and this is why I just want to see. I mean, I don't even really want to see this fight. Not much interest in it, to be
Me
honest.
neither.
But it's being sort of forced down our collective throats, isn't it? So it's going to happen, and we'll get the same old BS, won't we? Your fight week, or low blow, low blow, low blow. Yeah, just
Yeah.
shut up.
The
But
fight that I really wanted to see, as you know, was Usyk and Parker. I think Usyk would win, but I
yeah,
just wanted to see a fresh face, a different style. You know, let's see
yeah,
how would Usyk handle Parker. What would Parker
someone who's
bring
a
to?
bit of a boxer puncher. Yeah,
Yeah, what would Parker bring to the table that would I wanted to see how Usyk would take apart Parker's game plan and then
hmm
prevail. But
yeah,
we know what Dubois is going to do, and we've already seen Dubois.
yeah.
And
We're going to see him wander forward in straight lines,
yeah,
and you know, just to hope on a wing and a prayer that he'll be able to set something up with his jab, but I just don't think he will.
no,
Uh,
I really, really hope you're right. I see
mhm.
Eddie Hearn has mentioned now that AJ's retiring next year, 2026.
Not before time. He's shot to pieces.
Yeah, he is kind of, isn't he? It's all in that.
But I mean, yeah, fair play to him.
I guess we're not going to see Fury AJ. Do you think we might see Wilder AJ?
Possibly. We'll see what happens with this. See what happens with this fight. He won't go in with Dubois again, will he? It's too much jeopardy. So we'll see what happens with. I mean, that guy that Wilder's fighting. I can't even tell you his name, but I mean, he could be a surprise package, couldn't he? A la Jermaine Franklin. You know, he could be more impressive than we consider. So, you know,
Oh,
you could see somebody else come out of the ashes.
if
That could be a potential AJ opponent.
if Wilder gets beat, then there's no future for Wilder. Um,
No,
but if Wilder gets through this and you put him in with AJ, it's not the fight that Fury and AJ is, but
no.
it's still a generational big fight, right?
Yeah, well, it's another one of them, isn't it? It's Khan and Brook all over again. It's
Very old though, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
but you know
it's
what?
pointless.
But Wilder could beat AJ.
He could anybody with a punch could beat AJ. They've
So
got a
just
chance there, haven't
so this is the thing. This is the crazy thing, right? Like, you could get Wilder and AJ. If Wilder catches AJ, AJ's not getting up like Fury. And then all of a sudden Wilder's back in the mix.
they? Yeah, I know. That's
Like you
I
could
mean that's the intrigue. That's the intrigue about heavyweight boxing, isn't it?
so
Look at Chisora.
here's something that'll drive you crazy. So
Go on.
Wilder fights AJ, he beats AJ. Dubois is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, having beaten Usyk, and Wilder fights Dubois for undisputed championship of the world, and Wilder wins. Can you imagine how crazy that would be?
Next week on things that never happened. No, it's not going to happen, Bob, is it? It's not going to happen.
That would be the absolute craziest thing. I, I,
It
I,
would, but
I think I would have to stop watching boxing for a while to have
yeah,
Deontay Wilder, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
yeah, it would be. It'd be interesting.
Two
I'd,
punches.
I'd, I'd prefer to see him as undisputed champion than AJ. To be honest, stay humble, man. Do you know what I mean? I can't be doing with all that crap. You're not Hulk Hogan. Shut up.
Would you cheer for AJ? Sorry, for Wilder to beat AJ? You being a Brit and AJ being a Brit and
Yeah,
all that?
I would. I would. Because I like the fact that Wilder's got that bit of a nasty streak in him. I
Yeah.
don't like this manufactured version of. I mean, we've seen the real Joshua the last few times, but he thinks he's a gangster, and he's really not.
No.
You know what I mean? He sold a bit of weed in London, got
Yeah, I
in
think
trouble for it,
it,
and
a little plastic
some,
bag of oregano or something that was,
yeah, and suddenly he's a quite a dangerous. He's a roadman or whatever the kids call him nowadays. Like it doesn't wash with me. You
I've
know.
always I've always thought of AJ as being, a nice kid who got into a little smidge of trouble and then got himself all sorted out. Um,
Yeah, but he pretends that he's bad. I mean, it's really strange because I think his whole personality is a persona. It's a falsehood. And then when you do see the real him, I don't even like that, to be honest. The way he was with Daniel Dubois, it's like, who are you speaking to? I wanted Dubois to just lay him out. Well,
you
he did,
see,
didn't he?
I look at AJ a little differently because, of course, I don't get to see so much of all the daily stuff that he might do in the UK, and I don't look at all the tabloids and stuff. So my perception of AJ is a little different,
Hmm.
I mean, I don't see him getting a championship again. I think he's just, yeah, I mean, retire. He's got more money than you could shake a stick at, and yeah.
Yeah. And
It
to
looks
be
like we're.
honest,
Go
well,
ahead,
we're
man.
done. We're done, Bob. No, I was going to say, he's his contribution to British boxing should not be understated. He's done a hell of a lot for the game.
Yeah,
And there has been nobody since, look at Delicious Ori, for example, nobody since who's been an Olympian has come in with such a bang. So fair play to Joshua. He's just never been my cup of tea, really. So
yeah.
that's my final thought, Bob.
I think he's done quite a lot. But anyways, he's certainly done very, very, very well for himself, and he did very well for Eddie Hearn as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, man, that looks like we've come to the end of part two. So thank you once again for giving up your time and joining us here. I hope everyone's enjoyed
My pleasure.
your comments. I'm sure they have.
Yep.
And
Comment.
we will see you next Sunday. So everybody, thank you so much for watching. Please like, please share, please subscribe. And it's goodbye from me. And
Goodbye from me.
all right.
Take care, everyone.
Cheers. Bye-bye,
Bye bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.